Hello everybody and welcome back to the Fortress of Solitude. Today we're going to be talking about Avengers Armageddon issue 1, written by Chip Zdarsky, with art by Delio Diaz and Frank Alpizar, colors by Jesus Abatorov, and letters by Corey Petit. Armageddon is finally here as General Ross comes down from being Red Hulk, congratulating his Hulk soldiers on a job well done and taking over Latveria. He tells them to make sure his Gamma Charger is set up at the remote base as he dresses into his fatigues. He looks over the gift he found with the younger Doom clone, a device that he knows is a weapon that will ensure a global democracy and ensure a world of freedom. Ross and his team head out into Democracy City in New America, which is what they are now calling Doomstart and Latveria respectively. They find the local populations and other resistance groups are reconsidering their options, and most have actually fallen in line. It is really satisfying seeing Ross's arc from Captain America finally being fulfilled here, and he's now just gone fully rogue and he's leading a giant Marvel universe spanning event. Zdarsky isn't wasting any time in jumping right into it, and that Cap book is now 100% required reading for this event. So if you actually haven't read it, go and check it out. I did a 2-hour long catch-up video on the entire series. You can check out if you want to check that out. If not, go and pick up every issue from issue 1 to 10, and it'll fill in the entire story of Ross's ascent to despot of Latveria. Ross is told by his team that the Secretary of State and the White House are very unhappy with what he is doing, and they are supporting the UN and putting a committee together to discuss the military action against Ross. But he thinks that that's the problem with the world. They run these meetings and committees, and it allowed monsters like Dr. Doom to get the jump on them all because they are afraid of a little action. As his country's new flag is risen above the city, Ross thinks that it's time for the American dream to be felt by everyone, and it's time for a new America. I'm loving this. This is Ross who really believes what he is doing, and it's the right thing to do, and bringing the American democracy to every country he wants. It's kind of like what we saw or what we see America do. That's what they think they do when they go and invade like Iraq or Afghanistan. They think they're bringing that democracy there. And we saw that all through Zdarsky's Captain America book with David Colton, where he thought he was doing what Ross is doing here, but then he came to realize, oh no, like we are wrong for this. We should not be doing this. This is just going to breed more violence and chaos. It's really cool seeing all of that come to fruition here with Ross. At the United Nations building in New York, Reed Richards and others watch General Ross's press conference announcing his takeover of Latveria, telling the world that while many countries have human rights, most don't, and the ones that do have it sit by and do nothing to help these other countries. This is stopping now. He proclaims that he is giving everyone their democracy back, and Reed learns the troops are starting to move from Latveria down towards Simkara, with the Secretary General of the United Nations, Renata Riani, knowing that it would be a clear message if Ross were to invade a country that is technically democratic, but is very clearly heading towards authoritarianism. Looking over the information he has, Reed knows that Ross is targeting these hybrid regimes, ones that haven't progressed quickly enough for him towards full democracy. He assures Riani that the Fantastic Four and other heroes are ready to act, but Miss Riani tells him that the Fantastic Four are to do nothing since heroes are part of the problem, and while they have done a lot of good, the normal world is tired of standing on the sidelines and want to take up their destinies. Reed tries to explain that they only want to help, but Riani knows that aliens invade all the time, and if heroes didn't exist, they probably wouldn't even know Earth exists and be on their radar, and she suspects Doom's takeover was a direct result of Reed's own history with Victor, being that it was a big ego battle. Again, she demands Mr. Fantastic and the other heroes stand down and let the real people finally deal with the problem for a change. I really like this setup. It's a big problem the world has faced, but adding powered people to the mix complicates things even more. And if anything, it makes it even blow up even bigger, since what would just be, a simple little skirmish turns into like all-out war once you get powered people involved. So it's cool seeing normal people decide to want to handle this themselves and handle what could essentially turn into World War III on their own. I'm sure it's going to end badly, and I'm sure the heroes are going to get involved anyway, but I like the idea that the humans just want to do this themselves. As Reed is kicked out of Riani's office, Bucky watches over Steve Rogers' broken body. Sam comes by to collect Bucky, telling him that it is time to go. Close by, Captain Marvel tells the gathered Fantastic Four, Vision, and Namor that she doesn't want to sit back and do nothing. Reed knows that they will have to in this situation if they don't want to be seen as the enemy. And Namor knows that Atlantis cannot join the United Nations now since they no doubt are afraid of his people and their powers. Sam and Bucky arrive and the heroes offer their condolences to the grievously injured Steve. Sam does know that it will take more than Red Hulk to fully kill Steve Rogers as Spider-Man arrives, joking about how this is like Heroes Anonymous, quickly apologizing for the poor taste joke since he jokes when he's nervous, sad, and anxious. And he's always nervous, sad, and anxious. The heroes all head inside Stark Tower, told by Vision that Tony wanted to see them since he's working on something. They soon find Tony hooked up to a giant machine that, according to Captain Marvel, allows Tony to watch the entire world. Tony confirms that it is a mass surveillance device that he created after Doom was defeated, since he was upset at himself and the other heroes for allowing Doom to even have the chance of taking over. Obviously, some of the heroes, like Reed, have issues with this mass surveillance device, but Tony reveals that the Iron Alert system only shows him people it deems to be a genuine problem, and then it strips away everything to show him only the things that make up this problem. I feel like we've been through this with Tony before. This is 100% going to blow up in his face and turn into a much bigger problem than he thinks it is. He's done all this before where he's developed something that will help them. It's how we saw stuff, like with Hank Pym did the same thing, with Ultron. And we've seen Tony do it all the time, especially when he was like director of S.H.I.E.L.D., where he has his plans to make something that will be seen as something that will help people, but it just turns into a big problem. The thing was to know what it's telling him about Ross, since they know he was a threat already, but Tony reveals that it's more than that, since all of the moves Ross is making are perfect, like utterly flawless, and Tony believes that he's using some type of predictive technology to make his moves. He knows that the UN doesn't stand a chance against this current strategy since he's already won against them. The alert system sounds through the building as in Simkara, Red Hulk and his team move in on a military base, utterly decimating it and the soldiers inside. Over in New Orleans, Tony and Bucky meet with Rogue and Wolverine, with Rogue not really wanting to go against the UN, since if they do join the Avengers, the mutants are probably going to get stuck with the blame, as is the usual thing to happen. Tony tries to explain that they need everyone for this, but Rogue isn't moving, since they need to stay and protect the mutants there in the city. She asks about Cyclops and if his team will help, but Tony reveals that he said the same thing as Rogue. But Scott said he will join the fight if things go too south. Logan asks Bucky about the rumored return of S.H.I.E.L.D., learning that Nick Fury Jr. is running an outfit now and trying to find all the firepower he can in case things go sideways. Luckily, Logan knows of a former super soldier who just got a upgrade, referring to David Colton, the Captain America of the early 2000s, and thanks to his upgrade, he's got a very big power set now. I am so hyped that David is coming back into the light after Weapons of Armageddon, and also being an Origin box recipient from the Ultimate Universe, it gave him very Superman-like powers at the end of Weapons of Armageddon. So I'm intrigued to see what those powers are. We do see him flying. He is bulletproof now, so he's very much like a Superman now. And I'm intrigued to see whose Origin box he got, or whether that's actually going to get explained, because it never was in Weapons of Armageddon. He was just kind of given it, and I'm thinking maybe it's like the Ultimate Hyperion or Ultimate Sentry or something like that. It's damn cool that he actually got an Origin box, since I love the way that Zdarsky built him up in that series and ended with him getting a new lease on life. He's got these new powers where he can actually do some good and make some change in the world, so I'm really happy that he's going to be part of this big series. Back at the UN, a huge meeting to discuss what to do with Ross is held, with the group agreeing to use all necessary means to stop Ross and his new America terrorist state. In the crowd, the Wakandan delegate quietly tells T'Challa over comms about the vote, however she can't disagree with it. T'Challa knows she can't and agrees, since the countries have a right to defend themselves and Wakanda is no different, as he is readying to protect his nation's borders. Back in Simkaria, Ross's forces are making clear headway through the Simkarian capital, but before Ross can move on to the next phase of his plan, the Hulks are attacked by the world's armies, which have descended on the villain and surround them all. This, however, is all part of Ross's plan though, and he intends on taking out the world's armies all at once. At the Pentagon, David Colton rips his way through security after they deny him access, shrugging off their bullets as they tell him to stand down. David goes to see Dr. Saraf, the man who originally gave him the super soldier serum back in 2001, smashing into the man's lab. I love David's intro here. He's just a walking, talking, wrecking ball of calmness. It's great. He just doesn't, lift a finger to hurt any of these guys. He just walks through them. He just steamrolls them. Speaks to the character development that Zdarsky put him through in the Cap book and then in Weapons of Armageddon, where David became a lot cooler, a lot, decided to become something better than just a simple-minded killer and put his powers to task and actually for the betterment of people. He wants to help people. Also, I would be making a mistake without mentioning how every single one of David's costumes across this book, because he has a couple in this issue, absolutely rip. The green cap suit with the military jacket is such a sick look. It just looks so cool. And just the green cap suit in general, which he's had since issue 1 of Captain America, is just so fucking cool. I just love it so much. Before David can do anything to the scientists, Captain Marvel and Captain America arrive, keeping him at a distance since they just want to talk with him. Vision appears, shielding the scientists as David reveals that he wasn't going to harm them, he just wanted to talk to them. But Carol doesn't care, grabbing David and flying him high into the sky above the Pentagon, deciding to put him in the brig. David knows that that's not happening, hitting Carol so hard into the ground it knocks her out cold. Again, he says that he doesn't want to hurt people, he's just there to save them as he's going to shut down the super soldier program so that what happened to him never happens to anyone else ever again. David catches Sam's shield as it races towards him, prompting Sam to stand down himself, telling David that this isn't the way to do things and they need his help in stopping Ross. Wolverine arrives, comparing David to a grenade who's been tossed at ants here, but they want to toss him at a real enemy, an Avengers level enemy. Logan tells David that he'll actually make a difference this time, wanting him to smash up the lab and then come with him since he doesn't really give a shit about the lab at all. Logan getting the whole rousing speech to David is great. They had a great rapport in that Weapons of Armageddon book, and I love here that once Logan realizes that he's probably not going to change David's mind, he's like, whatever, just smash the lab, just, come with us once you're done, just, fuck it. It's great. It's a classic Logan thing and I love it. Sam, on the other hand, doesn't want him to destroy the Pentagon, but Logan knows that what they put David through, he has earned it. David rips the lab out of the ground, telling the heroes that it's better for them to have him on their side than be against him. He wants to know what his next target will be, as elsewhere, Bucky watches the news of the attack of Ross's New America, wondering if this ever ends. He talks with Namor, citing how they both fought in World War II, and during that time they thought that was the end of it and humanity would have learned its lesson from that war, but it just keeps on happening. Namor knows that humanity is war, punctuated by instances of peace, and they will continue to do it until the Earth is destroyed. Bucky doesn't think that Atlantis or Namor can talk, since they aren't war-free and they have fought humans, Wakandans, and even each other. Something Namor concedes is actually true. I love this pairing, and it's one we don't actually get to see a lot of nowadays, Bucky and Namor. Both Bucky and Namor fought during World War II, they were on the Invaders together, so they have like a history there, but we never really get to see them together because Steve is always there to, butt heads with Namor or something. So these two characters getting a moment, it just feels right. And I love that Namor also has like a respect for Bucky, because obviously, they're war buddies. They've known each other for a very long time. So he's one of the few people that Namor trusts and actually respects. Bucky asks where T'Challa is in all of this, but Namor says that he has his own plans for Wakanda, something which worries Bucky since he feels this time is different and it feels a lot darker. Namor knows that they are invaders and they know war and how to push through the darkness and into the light. Bucky and Namor go and join the rest of the Avengers, where Spider-Man is worried about this war since he's just a guy from Queens, and while he trusts Tony, this feels so above his pay grade. Okay, so I don't like when they do this whole I'm just a friendly neighborhood Spider-Man thing with Peter. This dude has been to space multiple times. His costume was an alien at one point. He's fought gods. He's been to other universes. You can't really pull that line when he's done all of that. You can pull it before he's done all that, but not during and after. Like, we just had an arc where Peter went out into space and was hanging with aliens and the Guardians and all these other people, so you can't really do that. Tony understands what Peter is getting at, but wonders if Captain America was there to ask him to join, would Peter join? Spider-Man knows that he probably wouldn't, and Tony respects him for saying he's not comfortable with this, and he tells Peter to stay and protect the people of New York, which to me reads as Chip was not allowed to touch Spider-Man for the book because of whatever bullshit that's going on over in the Amazing Spider-Man book, and they are highly possessive of that character and can't let him get into these big tie-ins with these other books or anything like that. And I'm intrigued to see how his role in the upcoming Avengers book would be, because he's in Chip Zdarsky's upcoming Avengers in November, so will he actually be allowed to be on that team, or is that just all a marketing stunt? As Tony tells Spider-Man to protect the people of New York, David, sporting a new, very Superman costume, complete with a new cape, arrives. Tony introduces Spider-Man to David, citing how he served as the Captain America of the early 2000s and how he saved David's life by replacing his heart with an arc reactor. David, as it turns out, is a bit of a Spider-Man fan, having followed his work for years, liking how no matter how many times Spider-Man is kicked down, he always gets back up to help. Peter is unsure how to respond to that as Reed gets called from Miss Riani, who tells the Avengers Operation United Strike is underway and they are taking Ross head-on and appear to be winning. She knows that the heroes intend on joining in, reminding Reed that he will not, otherwise she'll do everything in her power to hold him and the heroes accountable for everything. Tony appreciates her warning, ending the call since he has no plans on backing down now. Tony addresses the heroes, telling them that he's got some words for the Secretary General Riani, the Coalition, and for Ross, the man who put their friend Steve Rogers into a coma, and those words are Avengers Assemble. The team mount up and head out to stop Red Hulk and his forces from taking over more of Europe. What a great way to round out the opening to this event. The Avengers are all together, we got David Colton in the group and part of the Avengers now, and we're heading out into an all-out war with Red Hulk. I'm excited for what Zdarsky has in store for us. He's done some really fantastic stuff within Captain America, and the lead up to this has just been fantastic and not something I ever considered would be lead up into a big Red Hulk-led event. It's just so interesting, and it just feels a bit different than other Marvel events we've gotten recently, and I'm very excited for Armageddon. Avengers Armageddon issue 1 was a fantastic beginning to Marvel's big new summer event. We hit the ground running with Ross invading Latveria, taking it over, making it New America, and the world reacting to all of that. It's just really cool seeing all of this stuff that Chip Zdarsky has spent the last 11 issues of Captain America and 4 issues of Weapons of Armageddon building up to pay off. It's been a fantastic ride, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what he does with Ross throughout this entire series. I also am really intrigued to see what he's going to do with David Colton, who has a big power upgrade as of this issue, and I'm intrigued to see what powers he has in store for us and what he's going to show us, because he's been such a really interesting new character. He's gotten the depth and complexity of a character we never really get with a new character created for a specific run. Usually they're relegated to the scrap pile as soon as they're done with their arc, but Zdarsky's been keeping him around for something, and I'm thinking it's going to be something big, and I cannot wait to find out in this event. I'm going to give this issue an 8.5 out of 10.